Welcome, everybody, to All About Articulation, where we do a deeper dive into the articulation of some of your favorite action figures while glossing over things like sculpt, paint apps, character history, accessories, because I suck at that, and there are already so many great reviewers on YouTube who do that already, so I don't want to waste your time. Today we're doing the Hasbro G.I. Joe Classified Sargeant Slaughter Deluxe. That's right, he's a deluxe figure. What I'm going to do right now, I'm going to get right into the articulation, jump right in, and then afterwards, if you want to stick around, I'll talk about my thoughts on the figure and sort of the whole action figure, his place in the action figure world. So right off the bat, hat comes off, glasses come off, necklace comes off, well, whistle. Actually, I shouldn't really call it a necklace. It's a whistle. All right, that's what he looks like. Definitely balding. He's got the look of a high school shop teacher. Head goes up this far. Goes down this far. And that's just the top. What happens is that there's ball joint up here. And there's another point of articulation down there. So you have to use both of them together. And when you use the top, he can look all the way up. And then he can look all the way down, just utilizing that top. And then when you access both the top and the bottom of the neck, he can look that far back, and he can look this far down. All right. All right. Shoulders. He's got butterfly joints, but they're barely any motion in the butterfly. He can go back. That's about it. Forward, backward. Forward, backward. Forward, backward, forward, backward. So what does that look like practically? Well, with his elbows straight, he can just about touch, well, he can come this close with everything, with arms and wrists straight. If you want to bend his wrist a little bit, just like that, he can touch his fingertips. How far can he go back? He can go back that far. It feels like it can go back further than neutral, but there's a little bit of resistance as you get closer to the end of the articulation. So he can go back that far. So there's that. If he's like stretching his chest, he's got the bicep swivel that goes all the way around. Double jointed elbows. He can go about 40. That's about a 45-degree angle. He could scratch his own shoulder. Not bad. Not bad. Scratch his own shoulder there. Now moving down to the ab crunch. Typical ab. Basically, this is just the roadblock. The Cobra Island. No. Sorry. It's the heavy artillery roadblock body mold. It's the exact same thing. You can even kind of recognize the tank top shape. And actually, if you look a little close, the skin portion of the torso, you could tell that it's painted over. There's probably a darker shade underneath. The arms are all unique to Slaughter, but everything else you can tell that it was probably like a darker shade underneath, and they painted the peach skin color over it. So this is very much a roadblock reissue. And if you just utilize the top crunch, it goes down one click that far down, and he goes back one click that far back. And then you have the bottom sort of swivel ball joint that goes all around. Doesn't get too much of a crunch or back extension, but when you utilize both the top and the bottom ab crunch, he can bend over this much, and he can bend back, extend his back that much. All right. The swivel goes all the way around at the waist, and you get a little bit of side motion, a little bit of pivot. That's great. He's got the drop down hips, as we know. He can do a split. Thank you, drop down. He can do a forward backwards. He can kick up this far up. in a front kick. Can't go back too far back. That's about it right there. But he can go sideways really well. He's got the thigh swivel. It goes all the way around. We know how that works. Double jointed knee. He could just about kick his own butt. He can. He's got a boot cut that goes all the way around. He's got ankle pivot. Great ankle pivot. Here he can do his Glenn Webb split. How far a figure can go down while both feet are flat on the floor. Beautiful. Sorry, Snake Eyes. Okay, so that pretty much covers the articulation. Now, I hope you enjoyed the articulation portion. If you want to tune out now, go ahead. But my thoughts on this character. Of course, the elephant in the room is the Valaverse Sargeant Slaughter. How does he compare? How do they compare? Who do you like? Who do you don't like? Is it worth buying both? So, my thoughts. I like both. I think both are good. I don't think it's an either-or scenario. They're both pretty much the same price. Valaverse Action Force figures are a little bit pricier than the typical average G.I. Joe Classified figures. MSRP, these are about 25. MSRP, these are about 30 to 30. Let's call them 32, 33. But this is a deluxe figure. So, price-wise, he's about 30 to 35. So, price-wise, they're almost exactly the same. Generally, Valaverse is about $5 more, but not in this case. So, what do I like better? It's hard to tell, man. This definitely has grown on me. When I first saw this guy, I'm like, he's perfect. If you saw my other review, I'll put a link to the review of this figure somewhere down below. I thought this guy was, when I first saw the digital renders, I thought marked improvement. Bigger, bulkier, can't go wrong with that. However, I did in this video touch upon the fact that Sargeant Slaughter wasn't a big guy. Sargeant Slaughter, a.k.a. Robert Remus, his real name. He was maybe 6'2". I have ample photographic evidence, well-documented evidence, that he was not 6'5", 6 foot. He, in G.I. Joe Classified form, he stands shoulder to shoulder with Gung Ho, with Roadblock. Those guys are listed at anywhere between 6'6" to 6'7" to 6'8". Those are huge dudes. Sargeant Slaughter was not that big in real life. The typical argument I always hear about Sargeant Slaughter was, but in the cartoons, in the comics, he was drawn so large. Maybe as kids, we just misremembered Sargeant Slaughter's size. That's very possible. Maybe he just wasn't as big as we all thought, but now that we're all adults, we swear by it. No. He was like 7 feet tall. He had arms the size of his legs. His legs were the size of like tree trunks. I don't know. I looked it up. If you can find me a clip, a still on Google, anywhere, the old cartoons, I looked through all the old cartoons. I have the DVD. I went on Google. I looked up everything. Comic books. I have all the issues. He was never drawn much bigger than anybody else. So that's why this Sargeant Slaughter is more than fine, as he scales perfectly with some of these other G.I. Joe Classified characters, like Snake Eyes, Storm Shadow, Red Ninja, even Outback, which I finally got after over a year of waiting. This is I think, in my estimation, a perfect height for Sargeant Slaughter. But this ain't bad either. So I'm just saying, they both work. But if I had to pick, all right, I know, it doesn't get interesting if I stay in the middle. I got to pick a side. If I had to pick, right, my house is on fire. I'm running out. I can only grab one figure. I can only grab one Sargeant Slaughter. Who would it be? If I had to pick one, man, I think I'm grabbing this. I think I'm grabbing my Valaverse figure. You know? They're so close. Now, when I first got him, When I first got the Classified, I'm like, no way. There's no way he's better than this guy. But he's grown on me in the last few days that I've had him. No, like last week or two that I've had him. He's definitely grown on me. But the Valiverse still takes he still takes the cake. The edge goes to Valiverse. Just your articulation, just the motion, the movement. It just feels like I will say this, every single pose that I gave him a little bit of pose off, and I took photographs, and I'll put it at the end of the video. You can see for yourself. Every pose that I put Valiverse Slaughter through, Classified Slaughter hit every single pose, every single one. So there's no pose that Valiverse could hit that Classified cannot. So let me just get that right off the bat. However, having said that, when I do pose the two of them, either in a pose off or just, somewhere on my... Ugh. All right, I'll pick that up. Just either in a pose off or just have them stand around on my desk. Whenever I look at their silhouette and just their overall outline, the Valiverse figures, it just feels more natural. It feels more... I can't describe it. I'm having a hard time verbalizing it, but they're not moving, obviously, because they're static action figures, but the posing and the positioning, it just feels and looks more like, if you look at his silhouette, if you look at his shadow, if you look at his outline, it just feels more like a human outline, a human silhouette, natural humanness to it. I can't think of a better word, if that makes any sense. And I know, it's very, very heated right now. You Classified fans are gonna tear me a new a-hole for this. You guys don't like Valiverse. I get it. I mean, I don't understand why there's such animosity and hate, but I understand that there is. That the hate exists, and it's real. I'm in a bunch of toy groups on Facebook, Reddit, with my Instagram, and the shit talking that's going on from Classified towards Valiverse is insane. Anyway, yeah, is it worth picking up even if you have him? Absolutely. If you have him, should you get him? Yeah, why not? You get an extra couple of bucks. I mean, it's not a wasted $30. True, $30 is a bit pricey. It's not. We're not talking $20 figures, $19.99 figures. $30 is $30, 30 and change. Let's be honest. But you're not gonna be disappointed. You're not gonna be disappointed at all. I love both of them, and I wouldn't even imagine getting rid of one for the other. These are just two great figures. They're just great. I mean, if you really don't want two Slaughters in your collection, you can always take this body. These Valiverse bodies are so great, and just kid bash, and there you go. All right, you Slaughter, and you have I don't know, Old Man Silver Fox. All right, there you go. All right, everybody. That's it for today. Enjoy the rest of your week. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.